You ever have that moment when a game looks so good, so chill that you just want to disappear into it? That's Outbound. It's a cozy campervan survival game that promises you an electric escape into a utopian future where you build your own mobile home, explore gorgeous biome, and, well, collect a lot of garbage. And the weird thing is, I kind of loved it and also kind of hated it. Let me explain. Outbound throws you into this empty campervan and tells you to make it yours. The world is beautiful, animated, colorful, and genuinely satisfying to look at. And at first, you're stressed. You need fuel for the van, you need materials, you're scrambling to gather enough resources just to keep moving. And the tension actually works. It makes those early hours feel purposeful. And then you unlock your first axe, and something shifts. That stress just melts. You're not scrambling anymore, you're chilling, gathering what you need without the panic, and that's intentional design. The game wants you to shift from survival mode to exploration mode. The health and hunger meters barely tick down. That's not a bug. That's probably the point. And the whole game is just built to be stress free, and honestly, it mostly pulls that off. The maps are small, but they're dense, well designed. There's no resource markers telling you where to go, which might sound annoying, and it is at first, but it actually forces you to explore every inch of a location. You'll find stuff you weren't looking for, you discover things organically instead of beelining directly to a waypoint, and that's good design. And here's something the game does really well that barely gets talked about: the trash collection system. You pick up litter scattered across nature and it gives you research points. Now, it's an original way to make you think about environmental cleanup without feeling preachy or agenda driven. There are also these little details, like you can only cut logs that are already dead or fallen, you're not decimating the forest. It's thoughtful, it makes you feel like you're respecting the world you're exploring, not exploiting it. And I'm as far as it gets from a
Let's try to
hippie
repair
or
this.
someone like that, but it does feel nice. And the NPCs you do encounter, some hipsters throwing parties in the later maps, are completely non-interactive, except for launching fireworks for them. They're just there as props. It's a weird design choice, but the emptiness actually works in the game's favor. No NPCs means you're genuinely in touch with the environment. It puts the focus entirely on nature and exploration, not dialogue trees. Now, let's talk about the van, because it's both the game's best idea and its most frustrating execution. The camper van as your mobile base is genuinely unique. No other survival game does this. You're not anchored to one spot, your home moves with you, you build inside it, decorate it, upgrade it, it's modular, it's fresh. But the driving speed, it's horrendous, painfully slow, like incredibly slow. It's so frustrating to sit through. That said, the maps are small enough generally that the slow speed kind of forces you to take in the scenery, to actually see where you're going, and it artificially, I guess, inflates the sense of scale. And whether that's intentional design or a limitation they leaned into, I'm not sure, but it works more often than it doesn't. But here's where customization gets a little weird, because even though you can decorate your van extensively, paint it, you can add furniture, you can put up decorations, it looks cool in theory, but personally I didn't care about any of it. I'm sure that there's people who would love to do that, but I stuck with the original design because, functionality is all that mattered. Why would I waste resources on decoration when I need those resources for actual upgrades that I need to get places? And I think that's the disconnect. The game allows all this cosmetic customization, but it doesn't really matter. It's purely visual, has zero functional impact, and most players will probably feel the same way. The core loop is basically gather, craft, upgrade, and it's satisfying until, well, it isn't. Advanced food items like coffee and cake require water, which is a very precious resource, and they barely heal more than, the free food growing everywhere like berries. So why would I waste water on a coffee when I can just eat berries, right? It discourages experimentation. It makes you feel like you're doing it wrong even when you're not. And then there's this pattern that happens constantly. You walk a little far into a biome, find something interesting, realize you need
Another
specific
signal tower.
resources to build or interact with it, and now you have to trek all the way back to your van just to grab what you need, and then walk all the way back out and back to the van. Especially early game, when you're constantly over encumbered, moving at a crawl because your inventory is full, you end up making these tedious van trips over and over, and it's really frustrating. But as you unlock more cargo space, that problem kind of shrinks because the upgrades actually matter. So the van upgrades are technically gates to certain areas, like the desert where your engine overheats without heat resistance and stuff like that. But the game is forgiving enough that you can ignore them and push through anyway. The player upgrades, mainly cargo space is the valuable one. Everything else is kind of there, but it's definitely not critical. Fishing, I tried it at first because I thought catching 5-star fish would actually do something, giving special food, unique mechanics, something. Nope, they're just collectibles, pure busy work, and there's a lot of it. I only finished collecting one of each species because I wanted the checkbox. The minigame is repetitive and unrewarding. It doesn't do anything for you. And there's also this wall climbing mechanic that the game never explains. You kind of find out sometime in the mid game that you can scale most walls, even the ones that are pretty much 90-degree vertical ones, if you find the right spot. It doesn't explain which walls work and which don't, and it does feel completely random because the same wall might work 5 feet down the road and not work where you are. And it kind of feels unpolished, like a mechanic they forgot to document or refine. The resource machines you build into your van are pretty well designed. You got refiners, gardens, cooking stations, all kinds of stuff like that. And they do have obvious intuitive purposes. The research system for upgrades for yourself, your van, and eventually your dog is pretty straightforward. What I really liked was the van storage system. It's really good. So you walk up to your van, dump whatever you've scavenged, and it auto-organizes itself. So you don't need to Tetris puzzle all of your resources. It just stacks on top of each other. There's no limit on stacking. You don't need to micromanage. It's just nice functional design. So kudos for that one. I didn't love the dog companion system. Initially, I thought it would be quite cool, but you unlock him about a third into the game. He does come with a pouch. It's super tiny, which means it doesn't really do much. The really useful feature to be able to send them back to the van with your resources while you're slowly trudging back to base because you're over encumbered and having to do multiple trips. It unlocks so late in the game that by the time you get it, you're near the end anyways. It loses all its value and you can pretty much carry a lot at that point, so it doesn't really matter. There are about 100 gnomes to collect. Kind of feels like busy work. I picked them up when I saw them, but I didn't really go hunting for them. There's these bottle caps that you find all over the place that you can use for, I guess, unlocking these decorative pieces from vending machines, and then you can build those decorative pieces for your van. I built exactly 0 of them. Why? Because they're purely cosmetic, and I already established that cosmetics are pointless in this game. It all just becomes a checkbox, but it's just busy work at the end of the day. There's nothing really that it does for you. Eventually you realize that the loop is find a new area, gather slightly different materials, unlock slightly different upgrades, move to the next area, rinse and repeat. There aren't that many surprises in what you're actually doing. The only variable is where you're doing it, a beach cove, a mountain, a hidden farm. And that's where the game's good map design saves it. You find yourself exploring just to see what's around the next hill. But there's this strange space where the game is simultaneously relaxing, enjoyable, and a turn your brain off kind of way, and a bit hollow. You can play for hours and feel like you're going you're just going through the motions, and yet you don't stop because the world keeps teasing you forward with those carefully framed views, the promise of something just over the next ridge. And I think that's why if you finish Outbound, you won't replay it. A second run would be easier with knowledge already unlocked about what you're supposed to do. And it just wouldn't be that interesting. There's no permadeath, no hard mode, no difficulty options. Once you've seen it, you've seen it. The game might have more legs with multiplayer. You can play apparently up to 4 players, but I didn't try that, so I can't speak to it. In general, I would say Outbound is a beautiful, well-designed world wrapped around a pretty thin gameplay loop. It wants to be a cozy refuge, and in a lot of ways, it is. The art direction is genuinely satisfying. The van mechanic is unique, the map design is clever, the trash collection system is a neat touch, and if you're looking for a game where you can just exist, explore, and build without stress, that's what it delivers. But it does also ask a lot of patience. The van moves at a crawl, resource gathering gets repetitive, customization is pointless, fishing is pointless, you're making tedious van trips early on, collecting gnomes you don't care about, and managing an inventory system that improves gradually instead of ever truly solving the problem. The character's voice lines grate on you, the world is empty in a way that's intentional but still feels isolating for some. It's a game that succeeds at what it sets out to do, but what it sets out to do is pretty narrow. You'll play it, you'll enjoy it in bursts, and then you'll probably put it down and not think about it again. And that's okay. Not every game needs to hook you for hundreds of hours. Outbound is a contemplative pleasure for people who want to get away without going anywhere. Just maybe wait for a sale. Thanks for watching. If you've played Outbound, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're thinking about picking it up, hopefully this gave you a sense of what you're getting into. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.